Unmute. Alrighty, hello and welcome to the stream. Yes, those of you who are here, who are definitely not also part of this campaign, but are just watching because you found it or were notified, you'll notice that this is not the typical time that streams happen on the Roll with Advantage Twitch. No. This is a new one because I, as a DM, have no regard for my own life and sanity. So I've decided to start DMing a third campaign, which I'm excited about because this campaign is a little bit special and different in a way, just because instead of me doing this one by myself, I am actually co-writing, at least, DMing it by myself, but I'm co-writing all of the plot hooks and narrative beats and all of that stuff with a good friend of mine and actually sort of secondary owner of the YouTube channel, Mark J. Judge, who you might recognize him as Cecily, the 15/24-year-old girl/woman from the Salamander Coast. So that is kind of how I'm not going insane with this. But there's no need for us to dally. What we have here today is something that I like to do with all of my campaigns. And that is, instead of just jumping right in with a session 1 and, being like, all right, you're traveling on a caravan and the caravan is attacked by orcs. Instead, what I like to do is I like to have a session 0.5, which doesn't focus on the world or really the story too much. It's sort of a primer into the story, but it really serves as an opportunity for the characters and the players, I really say the players, in order for them to kind of understand their character a little bit more, right? Whenever you go to create a character, there's a bit of theorizing and theory crafting. We're like, ooh, maybe they'll do this. Maybe they'll do this. The session 0.5s are short, maybe hour and a half long sessions, just to help the two characters interact with one another, have them interact with other NPCs, and then send them off into the wild and have the two halves of the 0.5 sessions finally combine next week for session 1. So this is not mandatory for understanding the story as a whole, but it's nice to see the characters come to life right in front of your eyes. So, that is what today is. So, so with that, I think that if the two of you are both ready, which I'm sure you are, since I'm the one who's been dragging us along, are you guys ready to go?
Yep.
Any final words? Anything you want to say to any of your fans, Gemma?
J-Rolf, this one's for you.
Nice. Okay. Okay. So, let's go ahead and dig right in. So, our story, our adventure, one could say, begins in the small town of Sandpoint, one of 3 cities on the Giant's Isle, one of 2 very, very large temperate islands that exist within the kingdom of Iverion. A kingdom very close in relation, in terms of real-life parallels to what you would consider Renaissance England. You live in a period of time for the Isle, and for Iverion as a whole, that's been fairly peaceful. The past 50, maybe even 60 years, there's been very little conflict between the houses that exist, between the nation to the south of Tarkir, and even outward. No invaders have come in. Everything has been, to a degree, fine. Peaceful, trade has boomed, the economy is wonderful, and peace has finally been had. Most people's lives tend to take different shapes than others. Regardless of how happy and well-to-do the rest of the kingdom is, some people's lives are not as nice. So our story is going to begin with Twig. Twig, you have spent many months here in the Giant's Isle. Coming, partially against your own will, but coming regardless, you found yourself in the town of Sandpoint, located directly on the outskirts. Your aunt, having had a small villa on the outskirts of town that she allows you to stay at. She knows how much you enjoy nature, although she doesn't seem to get it her own most days. She does allow you to be outside and be near nature, be near what you want. Most days you stay in the villa by yourself. There might be a servant here or there, but you really try not to bother them at all. But today is different. As you are going through your morning rituals, which, let me ask you, Twig, what are your morning rituals, right? You wake up, what's the first couple things you do in the morning?
I feel like she's one of those people that would, take like an early morning walk. She'd probably just, first thing in the morning, just kind of get up, get herself, I guess, awake. Kind of go out into the forest for a little bit, probably sit down, try and, kind of befriend and get the animals there a bit more close to her, although it's still something she's working on.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, she'll probably head back to the villa, probably grab herself something to eat, and then just kind of read through her little books that she's got, little scroll things, and
Okay.
grab a couple of pieces of parchments and draw a couple symbols and runes on them.
Very awesome. So now this is such a nitpicky thing, but I'm just kind of curious. You really, considering the food stores that you have here, considering who your aunt is, I mean, you really have your pick of the litter for anything you want. So what does she eat? Does she eat something, extravagant and resplendent, or something just kind of homely and down to earth?
No, she's very much someone that would eat just very basic things, nothing too fancy.
Yeah.
Just, I guess, something to get the job done of eating, get those nutrients.
Yeah, maybe some just very simple, grilled meats and, well, is she a meat eater?
No, she's not.
Okay, so just some white bread, and a couple
Some
of
fruits and vegetables as
fruits and
well.
vegetables,
There's more than just bread and meat.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. That's good to know. So as you are sort of finishing up your breakfast collection of, breads, cheeses, a couple of fruits and vegetables, just sort of nibbling, snacking on things, there is a voice that begins to ring through the not large villa, but moderately sized, a voice that you recognize very well. That kind of not shrill, but oh so very close of Aunt Beth. Twig, where are you? Twig?
I'm up here.
Oh, there you are. And you can see her kind of come around the doorway, and she, holding onto the side, kind of looks at you and smiles. And, oh, good. I see you've gotten your breakfast. Very good, very good. And she comes over, and she takes a look, and, my dear, you're going to have to start eating more than just this. I mean, you're thin as a twig already. You need to put a little bit of meat on those bones.
Well, I don't really think that's necessary. I'm fine as is.
All right, well, if you insist. Here, let me, and she takes some of your plates from you, and begins to take them over towards a sink. And as you're sort of scrawling out these different, well, would you continue to scrawl out the symbols, or would you kind of hide that when she gets there?
Oh no, she's very good about it.
Okay, all right, cool. So as you're scrawling out the symbols, she takes a seat across from you, and she sort of looks at you for a minute, and then looks down at the drawings.
I can see you're staring.
I know, and I know you've explained it to me before. It's just, well, that's just something I still don't get.
Well, maybe you could always take a couple. Maybe that way you'll understand a bit better. I mean, I can certainly try and, draw out a couple for you. Keep it around, see if it makes a difference.
You know what? All right. Draw me a couple, and I'll take them. Now, do I have to wear them showing or tucked away?
Well, they should be showing, otherwise it kind of really defeats the purpose. But I get the feeling that you won't do that, but at least have the symbol visible somewhere.
All right, my dear, I will. So tell me, Draw me a symbol, tell me what it means, and I'll wear it all throughout the day, and I'll tell you if it makes a difference for me.
Okay, she's like trying to like hide a bit of a smile. Just grabs like a extra piece of parchment and just kind of draws out like an almost little diamond shape with a little like a little line in the middle, and like a couple of bits coming off the diamond.
Okay. Well, this is meant to be just a general thing for keeping away bad omens. I think it's one of the better ones that I've found. It seems to have a few more people saying that it works. At least that's what I've read about. But I think if anything, this will be useful.
All right. Very well. I will, and you see her kind of take out a small pin from her hair and tuck it in right near her, where the clasp of her cloak is. She puts it right on there. Sort of bends the pin just a little bit. There we go. Nice and visible.
Good.
So what are your plans for the rest of the day, Twig?
Well, probably just the usual. I think I've found something between these two scrolls over here, and I want to see if there's anything more about it, but I'm not too sure. I think I might have found something, but, well, it can be difficult to tell. There's not a very good collection of open sources about this.
Yes, I think I understand what you mean. Well, listen, if you... your uncle, he... well, you know how he can be sometimes, and, well, he thinks that it might be best for you to have small interactions. So maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe a week from now, maybe even a month from now. I don't know. But there might be somebody showing up at the villa, and they'll be referred by the temple. Most of the time, there are people who come to Sandpoint. They wish to go into the jungle and into the forests, and, well, I maybe talked about how proud I was of how well you know the immediate area, and even some areas beyond that, and, well, so there might be people stopping by every once in a while just to seek aid from you. And I understand if that makes you uncomfortable, but I tried to talk him out of it, my dear.
Do I have to give them aid?
I think it would probably be for the best. Sometimes he can get a little angry when things don't go exactly the way that he thinks they should. And if it doesn't work out, and if you're extremely uncomfortable, then I promise I will do whatever I can to make something different happen. But you know me, I let my mouth run a little bit too long, and I talked about how proud I was of you, and how well the animals seem to cling to you, and how you know the areas around the villa, and, well, apparently he picked up on it.
Huh. Well, I don't really appreciate people coming unannounced. Really, that could be at least warning.
I'll make sure that they at least try and send some type of messenger beforehand, just to give you a heads up that they're coming.
I feel like if people start just trudging through here, it'll kind of mess up with, well, kind of the signs of the area, and, well, I don't think that'd be a good idea. Then I might miss something.
And you see this look come over her face of just like her eyes sort of slooping to the side a little bit, and this very sad grin, this frown come over her face, and she just... I know, my dear, I know. But all it takes is 1 or 2 times, and I'm sure he'll forget. And then everything will be back to normal, okay?
Well, that's the plan.
Yes, that's the plan. Well, here, why don't, if it's all right with you, you can show me what you've been working with, maybe? Maybe I can help look for something in the libraries in town. I know you don't like going in there.
Well, I'm not sure how helpful that would be, but I'm willing to see if there's anything in there, if you could find anything in there. I think anything about the Fates, but I feel like a lot of them are also stories, so, maybe just bring up whatever you can find.
Of course. I'll look for anything that relates to any of this, okay?
Okay.
All right. You see her kind of give this half-hearted smile. She stands up and sort of flattens out her dress her gown that she's wearing, and says, "Well, at least do me one favor, Twig. At least don't forget about lunch today, okay?"
Well, I'll try.
All right. And her eyes linger on you for a little bit longer, and you see she wants to say something else, but instead she just exhales, says, "I'll see you same time tomorrow."
See you tomorrow.
All right. You see her kind of look down and then turn around and then make her way out of the villa. You hear her footsteps echoing throughout the small halls till eventually they fade away. Kind of sit there, slumped. So, Twig, the rest of the time until, well, who knows, maybe you might have an unexpected visitor. What do you want to do?
She's just gonna grab out a couple of her scrolls and books and just kind of start just reading through them, taking a couple of notes here and there. She's the kind of person that would write notes in the margins of things.
Okay. And then are you doing this inside or outside?
Probably inside.
Inside. Okay.
Don't want to get things ruined.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Alrighty. Very cool. So, you spend the rest of your day just going over these notes and looking for any connections that anything might have to fate or luck or these symbols. Just trying to find a connection. Something that might mean anything. And eventually you just get lost in the tomes and in the times. And there, we are going to jump to Grok. So, Grok, as you are making your way throughout Sandpoint, most days you just kind of aimlessly... Well, let me ask you, Grok, on your mornings, right, whenever you wake up, well, I do want to ask, where are you staying in Sandpoint? Where do you think you've been since you've been here?
Honestly, probably like the cheapest place close to like the harbor, where I've got my little dinghy boat, so I can keep an eye on it and just kind of sit in my boat and just kind of stare at the sky until it gets dark. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. So that would be the Salt Shack, which is definitely, it lives up to the name. That is a place where it is about like 5 copper a night. The beds may or may not have lice. The ale and food is passable as food sometimes. Definitely very like, this is such a weird reference to make, but very like Mrs. Lovett's pie shop from Sweeney Todd, where there's like, every once in a while you kind of see a cockroach come up on the table, and the bartender just slams it with a mug and just scoops it off the table like nothing happened. But it does give you... it doesn't have windows, it just has holes in the walls. And you are able to look through those holes as you're sitting in there. You're able to keep an eye on your dinghy, right? Make sure that thing that matters to you is still safe. So we're gonna go ahead and move into here, right, and a better idea of kind of what the town looks like. So there's not really any paved roads. Most of it is just hardened dirt that has kind of formed from people rolling carts over it time and time again. Not very many skyscrapers or tall buildings, anything like that. And you are just able to freely look out towards the ships that are coming into harbor, docking, unloading, and then reloading, and then leaving, seeming just to drop off supplies and then to head it out. You think and ruminate on different things that have happened to you in the past related to ships, and you look at your dinghy and you look at this huge frigate that pulls into harbor, and grit your teeth a little bit, but keep it to yourself, as you can feel, well, you're distracted. You can feel somebody looking at you. Feel a couple people looking at you. And as you sort of... Now, let me ask you, you're a little used to people looking at you, Grok. Do you can feel the eyes, just like on the back of your head. Do you turn to look at them, or do you let them look?
Oh no, I'd be trying to say, what, you never seen a fucking goblin before?
You can see the two sailors, one male and one female. They both very stocky, wide arms. Sort of, the woman looks at you. She says, "Oh yeah, I have. I've seen a goblin before. On the other end of my sword, I have."
Is that so, love? And I spit on the ground.
Okay. So the woman begins to stand, and the man also begins to stand, and you can see the bartender. He just kind of slowly backs away from the counter and heads back into the back room. And the man, he goes, "Sorry, you got a problem, mate?"
Aye. You see here. And I kind of pull out this necklace and say, my god code, right? It's his divine will that if someone looks at me funny, I kick the living shite out of them. So, you tell me again. You think you can fit me on the end of your fucking sword? Try it.
Make an intimidation check. Can see the man and the woman, they look at each other and they look at you. And you can see the man, he begins to move towards you, and the woman grabs his shoulder and says, "Hey, he's not fucking worth it, piece of shite." Spits at the table right next to you. And the two of them walk out of the tavern together, grumbling to themselves. Fucking goblin. And they leave. So you kind of scoop up your holy symbol back up. And as they exit, there's another form that enters. One that you end up having to kind of put on a fake face for. This is a woman that you've grown to know over your time in Sandpoint, Priestess Ayeda. So as the very tall, very slender, mocha-skinned woman enters, she has these silver eyebrows and this long silver hair that falls down in loops near her shoulders. You can see that her eyes glow this very deep gold, and there is this almost slight sparkle on her cheeks. She enters this very dark and dingy place. It's almost like the candlelight and sunlight peers in here even stronger, illuminating the room. She looks to you and she smiles, and you can see these just pearly white, perfect teeth. Each one like a crystal. She smiles at you, and she looks back behind the door where the two sailors had just exited, looks back to you, and says, "Did I almost enter on something that could have been much worse than two very angry people leaving?"
Oh no, don't be silly. they weren't a fan of the decor. Fancy lads, probably on one of those frigates that come inland. They're used to their windows and all that. None of this nice quaint charm in here, like.
You can see her laugh. And she looks down and smiles and says, I'm very sure. Do you mind if I take a seat with you in this very quaint establishment?
If you like. I mean, I'd recommend staying away from the corners. There's a few creepy crawlies in here, like.
Well, I will take my chances then, I suppose. She moves over and she kind of brushes her hand on the stool next to your table. You can see a very large poof of dust and dirt kind of get flown off to the side. She takes a seat. She smiles at you, and it's weird because she just feels... I mean, just looking into her eyes every once in a while, you can't help but get this sort of, like, warm feeling in your stomach. And she smiles and says, So, Karak, what exactly have you been up to? We haven't seen you at the temple, and I know that you told me originally that your duties, well, sometimes they keep you further away, but we've missed you, and, well, frankly, I've missed you.
It's not common to have folks around here be welcome and my kind. As you could see, my mates who walked out there. But yeah, I've been hitting the seas the last few days. Miss the open air, like. But I'm back. I've come to pay my respects to Code. I'll be dropping off at the temple later. Do my prayers and all that, you know, as you do.
Good. Good. That makes me very happy to hear. Because, well... You can see that smile kind of... She almost swallows it for a moment, and then it comes back. Apparently, Bishop Vazera wanted to speak with you. I'm not sure what it was about exactly, but she seemed very stern that it should happen quite soon. So, finish your drink. And she kind of looks at the cockroach kind of crawl across the bar, and she says, would you like to get a drink and some food from somewhere else before we go? If you'd like to take your time getting there, I understand, but I wouldn't mind the company on the walk back.
No, I don't mind at all. And I just kind of down the pint in one go.
Okay. So you slam it back. She says, well, once a sailor, always a sailor, I suppose. She stands up and gestures her hand forward for you to head out with her.
Yep, I'd be following.
Alrighty. So the two of you head out, and you begin to walk side by side through the town. And you can see that anytime that there are people who look at her, they look at her with a smile, and they, will approach very briefly and say, may the light guide you, priestess. And she says, of course, thank you so much. Meeting each one with a smile and warmth. And then as soon as they come up from the gaze of her, they look at you and they kind of shoot their eyes away and begin to walk off. And each time you can tell that she definitely is a person who wears her emotions on her sleeve, because anytime somebody does that, you can see a sort of pain in her eyes. Although it's something you're used to, it's definitely something that she's not a big fan of. So as you're walking, you eventually do stop at a small market area where there's different people cooking different meats and fruits and vegetables, different people peddling different alcohols and different types of cloths and weapons and armor. This sort of medium-sized bazaar, almost, in the middle of this in this town. So she says, please help yourself to anything, and the temple will cover the expense. You are an honorary priest, after all.
Right. Okay. And I'd be kind of looking for like the biggest like shank of meat going.
Okay, alrighty. So you begin to make your way through the market. You can see a couple people who are, they have chicken, and an entire roast chicken would be good. But then you see somebody who's got this, got these different, shanks of cow, anything from ribs to more center cuts. But then you see somebody who is roasting, like they've got 3 pigs roasting on a spit. And you can see the sort of big, gruff half-orc man who has like half of his like facial hair, like eyebrows, beard, and hair kind of singed off on one side, and the rest of it still kind of growing free. He's like cranking this huge spit to turn all 3 of the pigs at once. And as you're sort of looking through, that is definitely the biggest thing of meat you could find. And he's cranking it, and he kind of looks up and he says, "What do you want from? You want pig? You want pig?"
I mean, not much choice, is there, pal? I'll have one of the pigs, thank you.
What part? Oh, you want whole pig?
No, I want the pig. Aye.
You want all of it?
Yeah, one of the pigs, lad. Yeah.
Oh, he kind of looks at the pig and looks at. Are you gonna carry it, or do you need me to get somebody to carry it?
Nah, I'm sound. Don't you worry about me. I'm a big lad.
Alright, and he just starts barking out commands, and there are these people who start to undo it, and they start to pull the pig off and get it ready, so you can just pull it off. And he says, "Alright, you grab it and take it then."
Yeah, aye.
It's like you grab the pig, and it's a little hot, it just came off the spit, and the skin is all crackly. But you kind of grab onto it, and some of the juices leak out, and you toss it over your shoulder. Your strength is 16.
Aye.
Alrighty. So, yeah, I'd say you could probably no strength check necessary. You can grab onto the pig, throw it over your shoulder, and yeah, you have a whole ass roast pig right now. Anything else from here, or are you stopping with the whole pig?
No, I'd be stopping at the pig.
Okay. Alrighty. So you get the pig, and you can see as you make your way back to Priestess Aida, she looks at you confused, and then
Sorry, love. I know it's cheeky. It's hard to get a decent meal around here, and I'll tell you what, I'm absolutely starving.
And the confused look stays there for a moment, and then it curls into a smile and a small laugh. Well, if it makes you happy, then fine. I know how hard it is to get a good meal, especially in a place like where you are staying. So, enjoy your pig, and if you don't mind, I'd like a small piece as well. I don't need a whole other pig, if you're willing to part with it.
Oh yeah, of course. Whatever you want.
Very good. So, the two of you make your way out of the market, and every once in a while, she takes out like a very, very small, almost like carving knife, and she'll just like cut off a little piece of the pig and just kind of toss it in her mouth. Well, I understand where you got a whole one. That's really good.
I wouldn't be quite so, like, careful as her. I'd literally be taking, like, bites on my shoulder.
Oh my god! And it just all the juices run across your face and into your beard, and you can feel them kind of get twisted up in there.
Not really improving the hobgoblin look, but yeah, I'd just be kind of gnawing on that thing.
Okay, so as the two of you are, as she's snacking on the pig and you are devouring it, making your way through the city streets, right before you curve and make this one final turn that leads to the small temple district dedicated to the 9 divines, you can hear your vision is a little obscured because you have a whole pig on your shoulder, but you can hear a very familiar, "Hey, what are you doing with that, huh? Did you steal that?" You can see the two sailors from earlier. They kind of make their way in front of you, kind of stop you. Priestess Aida sort of raising up a hand and saying, No, it was purchased by the temple. Grok here is an honorary priest after all, a priest of Cord. You should give him the same respect that you show me." And you can see the one woman go, "Oh yeah, what should we care about a priestess of Pelor anyway? It's not like he does anything on the seas anyway." "No, if anything, you're just a glorified torchbearer, you are. So, how about this, huh? Temple paid for it. Isn't the temple's purpose to serve the people? So, Gobbo, why don't you give us the pig? Be on your way."
My name's Grok, not Gobbo.
"You missed the question, you idiot. She said give us the pig, and you can go."
Oh, you want it, aye?
"Aye, I do."
Alright, sound. Fair enough. I can see you've had it hard on the seas, aye. And I'll just fully launch it at them both. Like, as hard as I can. Just absolutely yeet it at them.
Alrighty, go ahead and make a strength check for me. See how hard, because obviously there's, okay, you grab it and just, and because it is a pig with only maybe 5 or 7 pounds of meat missing, it's still really heavy. So you launch it at them and they kind of grab onto it, and they both of them kind of fall over backwards from the pure force and momentum that the carved pig is tossed with, and they kind of both fall onto the ground, and they say, I, and you can see that they have the choice now to either throw it on the ground or keep it. And both of them kind of look to each other. And the man goes,
"Joke's on you, Gobbo. We're the ones with the pig now." "Hey, have a good rest of your day with your torchbearer, yeah?"
Alright, soft lad. See you soon.
kind of stops in his tracks. His head kind of turns back to face you.
"Sorry? What the fuck did you call me?"
I'm sorry, you deaf and stupid. I called you soft lad, mate.
Alright, listen here.
No, you listen to me. Do you know what I mean? Back in the pub. My God gives me the divine right to kick the shite out of you. You take one step and I'll knock every one of your fucking teeth out your jaw, mate.
I'd like you to make another intimidation check for me. All right. You can see him, his foot raises up a little bit as if he's gonna step forward, and then it kind of places it back on the ground. And he says,
"You're just lucky you got that priestess with you. Last thing I want is her going on and telling the powers that be that we done did you wrong. So you know what? Give you a free pass. But if I ever see you alone, Gobbo, it's over, mate."
Alright, pal. Good luck with that, aye.
I do have good... Fuck you.
See you later, mate.
you see him kind of take the pig and storm off, the woman following closely behind him. And Priestess Aida kind of looks and turns to you and says, well, I'm not very familiar with that type of de-escalation tactic, but it seems to work out very well when you have a disposition like yourself.
I mean, it helps being built like a Brit shit ass.
Oh, Grok, we have missed you at the temple. We have. No one has a sense of humor like yours. Alrighty, so the two of you then continue, and eventually you turn the final corner, and you make your way into the small temple district. So you can see different structures with marble columns, beautiful gardens that are kind of spread out in this entire area, where there's different shrines in this open air area that are dedicated to different deities, from Pelor to Arathis to Bahamut, to Cord even. One of the one of the divines who is not good and is not lawful, but he sometimes uses his powers in a way that could be considered good. So you can see his shrine, and there are a few people that you recognize there from when you had originally been hanging out around here. But eventually she leads you up a few stair paths to the main temple area, which has smaller shrines dedicated to each one of the 9 divines. And this is typically where most of the ceremonies, any knightings that Lord Barthold might need to do, the Lord overseeing this city and the area around it, or any other religious or sacred ceremonies that need to be performed are performed in this large building, which you know is also where Bishop Vizera is. Now, you have only seen Bishop Vizera only once. You've never talked to her before. You know, and as soon as you see the main area open up, you recognize her. She is very easy to point out in a crowd and to see. She is a green dragonborn woman, but very, very, very old. Definitely, at least as far as you can tell, reaching the end of her lifespan. Not really knowing how long they do live, but different bits and pieces of scales are cracked and decaying in different parts. Curled horns that turn up and around, almost like a half a ram's horn. You can see these different, like, small tendrils of leathery skin jangling down from her face, and these robes of red and gold, and a small cane to help her walk. And as you and Priestess Aida make your way in, she looks to Priestess Aida and says,
Ah, yes, priestess. It is good to see you, my dear.
show that. So, Bishop Vizera.
Well, so I see you have brought the man I asked you to bring. Grok, Priest Grok, it is good to see you, my lad. Please, come closer.
Alright, I mean, I must warn you, I might smell a bit like pork. I've had a pig on my shoulder, you see. It's not here now. I mean, you can tell it's not here now, but...
Yes, well then don't get too close. I might be tempted to take a bite out of you. Well, follow me.
Okay.
And so the 3 of you begin to make your way back and around the corner, and she turns, Bishop Vizera, says,
Priestess, there is no reason for you to join us. This is between myself and Grok. I appreciate your devotion and kindness, but now is not the time for it.
And Priestess Aida looks to her and smiles and gives a bow. Of course, Bishop, if you'll need anything else, do not hesitate to ask. Grok, I hope to see you later today. Farewell to both of you. Smiles, turns around and begins to head out of the larger temple, probably headed towards the Shrine of Pelor. So the 2 of you head back through a narrow hallway back into her chamber, where Bishop Vizera tends to stay. And entering the room, you can see that it is very, very bare bones. There is really not much at all happening in here. There's a bed that is on a wooden cot. There's a small desk with a set of parchment and ink, very neatly organized. There's a wardrobe off to one side that almost seems to have like a slight layer of dust up on the top. And she takes a seat in her chair on her desk and says,
Grok, the reason I asked for you is most of my clergy, they tend to have an issue with doing things that require something that is not a delicate hand.
Oh, don't you worry. I don't have one of them, don't you worry. my hand's like a hammer. Don't you worry about that.
Exactly, which is why I needed you. I have a mission for you. A sacred mission that could help the lives of many people. As you know, or maybe not, I think that we've done an alright job in preventing it so far, but there has been a disease of sorts that has begun to pop up around the island. Most of the cases and incidents have been in Sandpoint. Now, in my many years of study, I have found that there might be one thing that could help. It might not heal it or cure it, but it could ease the pain of those suffering. And to me, that is enough. But my old bones will not allow me. Any time I wake up in the morning, I feel like I've lost another scale. And so, I need someone with the determination to find this thing. It is a flower of sorts, a lily. Long, wispy petals. They are alternate red and yellow. It's a little bit larger than most other flowers, but it should be very easy to find in a grove. I know that you love the sea, Grok, and I know you're much more comfortable there. But this mission requires you to go inland into the forests. Now, most of the time I would have you go alone and figure it out on your lonesome, but Lord Bartold has told me of not exactly sure what it is to him, but a traveler of some sorts that apparently is, he said expert in the areas surrounding Shade Point, or Sandpoint. So, you will find this person. They're located in a small guest villa in the exterior of town. Shouldn't be hard to find, just follow the road outside and it should be to your north. Apparently there you'll find this guide and they'll be able to take you direct due north of Sandpoint. And heading there, at least as far as my notes can guide me, you should be able to find your way.
Right, okay. Well, 1 minute. And you see Grok pull out these comically large, like, bottle glass glasses. Right, let me just... My memory's a bit short, you see. Right, Lily, alternate red and yellow, and it's in a grove. And it's in the forest there. Okay. And
Yes.
I'm seeing a traveller in a villa. Right, okay. Just
Yes.
Give me a minute.
All
Hold
right.
on.
Okay.
Right, aye. Okay, I can barely read my own writing. Honest to God, I don't know how I punch people with these fucking eyes. It's all right. Got it down.
Good. Remember, Grok, there are a lot of people counting on you. This could ease the pain, and who knows, it might be able to cure this affliction. It just hinges on your retrieval of this flower.
I'll be honest, love. I'm not good with this, like, phone and all that. Do you want it in a bottle, or do I just pull it and put it in like a book? Like,
A bottle would be fine. But make sure that
Alright.
there is a little bit of soil in the bottle for it.
alright, I can do that. That sounds.
All right. Thank you, Grok. And please, you will be rewarded for this. If you bring it to me, if there's anything that's within my power to give you, I will.
Right, nice one. I better be off then, aye.
Yes, do not forget about the traveler in the villa.
Nope, that's where I'm going now. Trust me, I'm as useless as a fart in the wind in the forest. If it's the seas, I'll be alright. But I can't be dealing with a forest.
Of course. Yes, I understand. Well, be off then. I anticipate your return, young Master Grok.
Alright, love. In a bit. And he just walks off.
Okay, alrighty. So you make your way out of the temple district, and eventually you make your way back to the city, and eventually out, headed northward towards the villa that apparently exists on the exterior of town. Now, this is not something that you've ever been. You really never go this far inland. You really, aside from a few extreme circumstances, you really stay near your ship. So you head out, and eventually there you see it. You see a moderate-sized villa. Most of the house is open air, but there are a few areas that seem to be closed and shut. And easy enough, you could approach and knock if you'd like.
Yeah, I would be. I'd be knocking on the door and say. But I'd be one of those really annoying, impatient people that the second they're up, they go, hello!
Alright. So, Twig, as you are sitting, scrolling over your notes, you feel like you're about to make a connection, and you hear this accompanied by this just raucous shouting coming from somebody on the exterior of the door.
Well, she jumps a little. Then she's just kind of take a little minute, and then she's gonna go over. She's gonna find where she has her little crossbow. She's just gonna pick it up, and I don't know. Are there any like windows she'd be able to like see through to the door to?
Yeah, the ones right next to the front door, there are small little like wooden blinds that you could like peel back to see who's there.
Okay, well she'd kind of like sneak up to it to kind of not make too much noise, just slowly open it up.
Okay, I'd like you, just that way you can make a roll. I'd like you to make a stealth check. Just to see, obviously you're in your own house, you know, this isn't going to be very difficult, but, you know. You are walking, and you grab your crossbow very quietly, you sling it around your shoulder, and as you are making your way, you can hear the person on the other side. Apparently they at least stopped talking briefly. Let out an exhale, you close your eyes, oh, thank you, silence, and you go to take another step, and you feel the tail first before you remember your aunt's cat. She insists on leaving here because apparently your uncle is allergic to them, and you can hear Sir Pounce let out this as he darts off after you stepped on his tail, and you sort of look around, and Grok, you can hear a cat give out this terribly loud yell from the other side of the door, not but 10 feet away.
Twig is just frozen.
Everyone alright? I'm sorry, I'm looking for this traveller. I might have the wrong house. Hello? And I just keep banging.
Can you stop banging, please?
Oh shit! Sorry.
With the temple?
Aye. Bishop Vizira sent me. I'm looking for a traveller, a guide to take me for the fort. Sorry. I'm Grok. I'm useless, you see, on land. I'm more of a sea lad. And I'm looking for a guide to take
Can
me
you
through.
please be a bit
through
more
the forest,
quiet?
Sorry, love. What was that?
Can you please be a bit more quiet?
I'm shouting through a door.
Okay, she's just gonna open the door slowly.
Okay. So as you open the door, the two of you are confronted with each other's polar opposite physical appearances. So Twig, if you'd like to describe yourself, and then Grok, you can go ahead and describe yourself.
Okay, well, she's still got her crossbow in hand, which is like almost comically large for her size. She's lowered it though, she's not pointing at you anymore. But she is very much shorter than average, even for her kind of young age. She's got very muted, very practical clothes on. Seems to be like, very able to blend into things. And not draw too much attention. Although one of the most striking things, I guess, would be all these little parchments that are kind of pinned to various parts of herself, and a couple on the crossbow as well. You can notice, just kind of like drawn out symbols. But she has very kind of reserved posture currently. Her head's kind of tucked into her shoulders. She's still got her little hood on and her little like bangs swept across her little face. And she's giving you a very concerned look.
Okay. Grok, as Joe said, is the complete polar opposite. as he said to the bishop, he is built like a brick shithouse. He is absolutely massive. He's about 6'3". But he's very, very scruffy. He looks a bit knackered from many years on the sea. Bit salty, bit grey around the edges. Very plain, like simple gear. Like his chainmail's got rust on it. He's got a simple cloak over it, and then he's got his symbol round his neck. But everything's very, very understated. He's not making appearances. He doesn't give a shit.
Okay. Alright. Cool.
And I think he would feel a bit bad for alarming Twig. I'd be like, sorry, love. I didn't mean to give you a fright, like.
Does he still smell like pig? I imagine he does.
Probably, yeah. He didn't. Grok hasn't taken a
I've not
shower
washed.
since
I would
then. Yeah.
have walked. Yeah. Grok hasn't taken a shower in days.
Twig,
Okay,
considering
she knows
your
it's kind of.
yeah, considering your high perception, you're getting a lot of different smells other than pig.
Yeah, she's heard it's rude, but she's kind of like got like the corner of her hood and just kind of holding it over her mouth and nose.
Would it be too much to ask that you wash yourself?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, you wouldn't believe it, right? I was at this market, pick up this pig lark, and then these two dickhead sailors ask me for it, so I fucking loaded it at them. But I think I got some of the juices on me. Sorry.
Was
Have you
the
got?
pig okay?
No, sorry. It was a roast pig, love. I'd ate half of it before I threw it at them.
The look of concern is just growing every word you're speaking.
I'm
Have you
sorry.
got-
I'm sorry. I didn't hear myself.
Have you got like a cloth lark or like a bucket? Because sorry, I know it's rules. Are you not a fan of pork?
No, not really.
I've
but
got.
there's
I'm
a
sorry,
broom over there
that's
that you
rude.
can clean yourself up.
I've got some jerky in my bag if you want it.
No, thank you.
All right, I'll take it outside. I don't want to mess your fancy room up.
I think you already have.
I know. Look.
Please, room back there. You can get yourself cleaned up.
Alrighty. So, Grok, you head off. You do clean yourself up. Now there are a lot of different, in terms of like scents to choose from. So there's more like earthy pine scents, but then there's also like lavender. There is also fruity scents that you could choose. However, they're not labeled at all. So you're really just going based off of what they smell like.
I wouldn't really use any of them. I would kind of reach into his bag and take out like the pine oil he uses on like the haft of his like warhammer and just tap it on his cheeks and be like, right, that's sound.
Okay. Alrighty. Cool. No doubt. Alrighty. So, you finish up. You at least get the pig juices off of you, and then you re-add the the pine oil. And as you exit, Twig, he doesn't smell like pig anymore, but he does smell like oily pine. It's not good, but it's not as bad as it was.
Okay.
So what exactly are you here for?
Oh, sorry. Honest to God, it's my man. Like, let me start again. Sorry, love. I might be strong, but I'm thick as pig shite. I've been here from like I said, Bishop Vizera. I'm here to get some lily from a grove. You might know it. And he puts on his massive glasses again. And he goes, right. And he struggles through his own writing, and he's like really straining his eyes. He goes, I'm looking for a lily, and the petals alternate red and yellow, and it's in a grove. Does that help?
Has she come across this?
You know that there are areas, maybe only, 4 or 5 hours away from here, that you've been to once or twice, that lilies do grow there. You've never seen one like that, but you do know that there is a very small lily grove, maybe 3-4 hours away from where you're at right now.
Well, I don't know your flower, but I might know somewhere that has it. It's not that far from here. You can be gone soon enough.
Oh, right, okay. Are these boots alright? Like I said, I'm not used to forest, like. I'm used to docks and, the sea. And, like, the boots are just, like, half ruined.
I think that would be okay.
She just like kind of like quickly goes back to where she was like drawing out her little runes before, just grabs a couple, and then just comes back, kind of holds them out to him, not really looking at him, just kind of off to the side.
But if you wear these will help.
Oh, cheers, love. Right, that's very kind of you.
Well, I can't have you drawing anything because I have a sense that you're not very covert.
Sorry, what was that?
You're very loud.
Aye.
Let's make that the first rule. You can't be loud.
That might be a bit of an issue. I can promise you, I'll try my absolute hardest.
Well, hopefully that would be enough. Maybe also, when we're going, stay a couple of feet behind me. Just so you're not drawing attention to me, at least.
Oh no, don't you worry about that. I'm a big target anyway, love. It's fine.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, do you need anything before we go?
Oh no, I'm right as rain. Got me axe, and he taps on his back, and it doesn't look like an axe. It's just a big fucking massive anchor.
Right. Well, this way, I guess.
Just gonna kind of like go out, sling her like crossbow onto her own back, and just head out.
Okay, alrighty. So the two of you begin to head out of the house, and you begin to make your way northward to where you know that Grove of the Lilies is. Now, like I said, you aren't exactly sure about that type in particular, but you at least know that lilies do grow in that area. So, real quick, I would like you to make a survival check with advantage for me, just to see how well you can avoid the the natural terrain here and any sort of incidents that may come up.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Alrighty. So, as you're making your way into the forest, I'll move you there now, right? As I said before, right, this island isn't a tropical island. Like I said, it's a temperate island, much closer to, you know, something like Ireland or, you know, the UK. So it's, you know, not as treacherous as something like a jungle island, but it still does have its pitfalls. Which, as you're making your way through the forest, and these are parts where there are no paved roads, it is the wilderness. Because typically it's faster and safer to take a boat from city to city to city on the Giant's Isle, as opposed to making your way through the jungle, or through the forest. But, Twig, you like the forest. And Grok, you're a little out of your element as she's kind of every once in a while sort of muttering out something that you should do. And there's one time where you don't exactly catch it. You don't exactly hear her. And you go to take a step, and Twig, you turn around like quick as lightning and like tell him to stop. And Grok, as you look at where your foot is, you are like standing about to step foot right into a very, very small sinkhole. That would have just kind of swallowed you up, and who knows what would have happened if you would have fell into that. But Twig, luckily you caught it, so you catch him, you make sure to have him sidestep and make your way around, and Grok, from that moment on, you're a little bit more aware of sinkholes that may come up in your journeys through this forest. So, you make your way, and with that survival check, it doesn't take you very long. You end up cutting most of the time in half, so it only takes you 2, maybe 3 hours. So you're getting there right around sundown at this point, as most of the day's kind of been taken up by your writing, and then Grok for you the entire issue with the market and those sailors. So you make your way, and you can see that Twig, you're maybe, 70, 80 feet away from that flower grove. You know that the lilies are near, and there's a moment where, as you're sort of walking around, you stop because you see a deer that like stops in the middle of in the forest, and they just kind of look at you like they're looking dead in your eyes, and they're just frozen right now.
Maybe keep your eyes open. Something doesn't feel right about this area.
Am I still... sorry, am I still supposed to be quiet?
Yes, don't say anything, please. Unless you see something. Just more quiet.
Okay, I won't say anything.
She's just gonna do like a little scan just to see if she sees anything else out of place.
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check.
Ooh.
Whoa! Okay.
On the money today.
So, you look around very slowly, keeping an eye out for anything and everything that could deceive your eye. You see the deer, and eventually the deer kind of scatters off. You hear something, a twig, snap in the distance. You look, you don't see anything there. As you look around, you can see 4 or 5 now crows that are in the trees, now staring at you, each one cawing at you over and over and over again. And there's this bit of sensory overload that happens to you, Twig, looking around, and then you sort of look back to where that twig was broken because you hear another one. And you look closer because at first what you think you see is just broken birchwood. Something, this very like bleached white bark that is rolling on its own. But then you start to see more of the wood. And that's not birchwood. That is... It can't be, right? And you're running through all these things in your brain because you realize that there's no way that could be a bone that's moving on its own. There's no way. but it is. It's an arm, not attached to anything, and then eventually you hear the clicking noises of bone clicking together, and you can see that not only is there an arm, but there's a rib cage, and another arm, and 2 legs, and eventually it stands up, and then about at that point, Grok, you notice it as well. But you only see the one, Grok. Twig, you see that near you, there are maybe 4 or 5 more. As you can hear that rattling noise of bone on bone snapping together, the sound of steel being pulled from a scabbard, or the sound of creaking twine being pulled back on a bow. And as you look around, you can see them, and you know that this is not how you wanted to go. And as all of you eye those 4 skeletons, as the 2 of you eye those 4 skeletons, that is where we're going to end this session point 5. Look at that.
What?
You did it. You made it out. You made it out of the city. It only took about 2 hours to get attacked by something, though. Isn't that fun? Now you guys know why nobody ever comes here. Okay. Alrighty. Well, thank you all for watching so far. We'll be back in like 10 minutes because we also have another session point 5 to do with Jareth, Kayla, and Lisa. So thank you so much, and we'll be right back. Wait. There we go.
second. Give me.
And unmute. And hello, and welcome back, friends. So thank you for the raid. That was very, very, very nice. And because of that, I'm not even gonna go get more water. We're just gonna dive right in, because that's awesome. So, since all these people are new, I figured I would explain a little bit of what's going on. So, typically in my campaigns, what I like to do is I like to, before we even have a session 1, after we have the session 0, we talk about the campaign, all that good stuff, I like to have a session 0.5 in between, which serves as an opportunity for the characters to, for one, make small connections with one another, and for the players to get an understanding of their character and that character's voice. Not just like how they sound, but how they interact with people and how they interact with the world around them. So this session is less about the story as a whole and more about the characters that these players will be investing so much of their time in over the next, who knows how long. So, we just had one a little bit ago between Grok and Twig, which was a hell of a lot of fun. If you want to see the interactions between a hobgoblin paladin and a very tiny, adorable-sounding dorky ranger,
Dorky.
it is. I thoroughly recommend it. It definitely had me dying with laughter during it. But let's not look to the past, ladies and gentlemen. Let us look to the future. Because what we have now is we have our session 0.5 for Isabine Nalfian. Why do I always... I don't know what... Nalfian. Ah, yes, phonetically. Okay, Nalfian and Eurydice. I know it's Eurydice. I was just kidding. I wanted to hop on that one before there was air there. Okay, so let us go ahead now and get started. So, no need for tense music here, right? We can enjoy some good old music. We also don't need an uneasy forest. We'll get there. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to hang out with Harbor and Medieval Town. Alrighty, so let me go ahead and move you guys back to the screen here. Start. Okay. Dokie. So, to begin, all of you. Wait a second. Who put that art there? Who did that?
Oh, the Eurydice art that's just in the floating above welcome.
Who did that?
It wasn't me.
Get out of here.
Intentionally me.
Delete.
My mistake.
Delete. Okay, so let's begin. Nalfian, Eurydice, and Izzy. The three of you live separate lives from one another. I'll say right now that at least some of you have some knowledge of the others, right? So when you meet each other later, you're not complete strangers. Your names have at least traveled to the others' ears. But, to begin, where are you? All of you are located in the Giant's Isle, smack dab in the middle of the kingdom of Iverion, a temperate island similar to that of the United Kingdom or of Ireland. Islands that still experience winter, spring, summer, fall, all the good seasons. And you've existed here for some longer than others, but all of you have been here for a while now. If not at Sandpoint, then in the greater Giant's Isle region. So, let us start with Nalfian. So, Nalfian, As you wake up in the morning, let me ask you, where do you wake up?
He has probably found himself in the nicest inn he can find. Um, Fighting has got him a little bit of coin, and he's more than willing to spend it as soon as he gets it. So whatever the nicest inn, and probably the most expensive room in the nicest inn. And if he had any coin to spare, he would have bought himself some company as well.
Ooh, okay. Alrighty. Sounds good. So you would be at the Golden Anchor then. That is like the nicest inn because it is right near the market and the Lord's Manor. That is where you would be staying, and I would say with the fight that you just won the previous night, you would be able to afford some company. If you wanted more than one company, you could afford 2 company if you wanted to.
He would take 2 company.
Alrighty, so 2 company it is, but that leaves you with very little money left over.
That's okay, there's another fight coming up soon.
Okay. Alrighty. So, as you awake in the morning, stretched out, you can see... Now, I do want to ask, just for clarification, your company, is it both women? Is it a man and a woman? Both
They
men?
are both women, particularly, if possible, both with long blonde hair.
Okay, one of them is. The other one
All
is a short-haired brunette. But, so, you wake up in the morning, and you can see that both of them are sort of, like, coddled up next to you. And as you get up and go to continue your start your morning routine, you can hear them both say, "No, don't go, Nalfian. Stay."
Oh, now, little birds, there'll be more of me for later, but I have a busy day and I've lots to do, so you just sleep your pretty little heads away, and I've got to go about my business, but the pleasure was certainly all mine, and I'll see you later. All right. And he'll cross over and start to put on his leather armor and just kind of adjust himself as he does so.
Okay, so you can tell that they're both keeping their eye on you, both of their eyes, very clearly on you as you're sort of getting dressed and putting on your armor, strapping on your weapons, and as you are preparing, you can hear a very light knock on the door. Nalfian, are you in there?
A moment, if you will. And Alfian will just turn to the 2 women and just the brightest, most shit-eating grin possible. Just flash him a quick one, and then he'll cross to the door and just kind of pop it open.
Okay, so
What
as
is
you
it?
whip it open, it is Fightmaster Aldous. See him right there. Older man, maybe in his late 40s, early 50s. Black and gray, salt and pepper beard, but a mane of hair that goes back down to the bottom of his neck, slicked back, where you can see the roots are starting to begin to turn gray, but the rest of it is this sort of thick, shaggy mane of black. And this very nice coat and trousers, these very well-polished boots, and as always, a cigar in his mouth. It's not lit right now. It seems like right now he's just chewing on it. And he says, and he kind of looks in the room at the 2 women that you had there, and he kind of gives them a smile. Hello there. Hey, if
Aldous. You see this little piece of string tied to the door right here? You see that?
I
2
do.
fucking eyes. You see that? We remember what that means, right?
I remember indeed. Now, did you remember about your
Great,
fight?
and then he shuts the door in his face.
You know, Nalfian, I think that maybe you forgot about your fight in about an hour. Remember early morning fight, or did you just want to go ahead and forfeit that and pay up the coin yourself?
Fuck. He turns around quickly and pops the door back open. Aldous, friend.
There's my boy.
That's right. How could I forget? Great. Give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And then he turns back around. Little birds. I've got a big fight, so get the fuck out.
and you see them, their smiles turn into like shocks of horror. Okay, yeah, and you see them grab their clothes and sort of re-put them back on and sort of scurry out the room, and you can see Aldous is like, now, ladies, if you'd ever like a kinder, more gentle touch, don't be afraid to come to see me. All right, all right. Are you ready now, Fian?
And he's just kind of like finishing, adjusting, and buckling any last little belts he has on his attire. He's just got like very worn leather armor. It's seen better days.
All right.
All right. Lead the fucking way.
Don't mind if I do. Now, here, come on. Walk with me instead, right? We're a partnership. We're doing this together, all right? All right. Listen here, my boy. And he shuts your door for you. Sort of get you out. So this fight you got coming up, this is a big one, alrighty? Now listen, you know me, I've always tried to make sure that you were up against people that I knew you could take, or that at least would be a fun challenge for you, right? Make things a little more fun for you, I'm all about it.
Right. And he's like fixing his like hair as he goes along, just not even paying any attention to him, just like tightening his little man bun he's got going on.
Hey, and he kind of snaps right here, hey, keep it locked in, alright? This is important.
Yeah, what?
This match, it's got a lot writing on it, okay? Apparently there's some big investor coming in, a big name. I don't know who yet, but apparently he's coming in and he's paying big money, placing big bets, and he's heard a lot about you, knows that you could take anybody. So I decided I'd give him one hell of a show. So I know that we've talked about you and you going in the rings and how you don't really want to, well, how we think it would be best that those people who are practical giants compared to you, it's probably not the best idea for you to go up against them. But after what you did to that poor soul last night,
That was pretty great, wasn't it?
I mean, even your other, fighters, they're calling you the butcher, and I can't get over it. But hey, if it works, it works. You were selling the crowd. I don't care. They were spending money. That's all that matters to me. So you know what? If that's the case, we're gonna put the butcher up against the Shield. Alrighty? And when he says that, you know exactly who that is. That is this Goliath man who fights only in like half plate, where he is just covered almost head to toe, aside from a few specific places on his body in like, not even like actual plate mail. It's just like sheets of metal and steel that he just kind of uses with no weapons. He just uses the metal and his hands to bludgeon people to near death. And he says, now listen, fight's already been signed, all right? It's already happening. Nothing I can do now, alrighty?
This morning. We're having this fight this fucking morning.
Yeah, I want people to be sober for this. I don't want them to be drunk. This is going to be the fight of the century.
Oh, Aldous, do not fucking listen to anything I say. Alright, let's just... And he just kind of like smiles brightly like he's putting on a new mask. Let's give him a fucking show then.
Bet your ass we will. Give him quite the show indeed. And they, I do listen to you. I listen to you a lot, all right? Give me a little bit of credit, all right? All right.
Yeah.
Eventually making your way out of the Golden Anchor back into the city streets of Sand Point. I'm going to move you back into...
Anybody who looks his direction, he's gonna either like... Literally, not literally, but whatever the equivalent to a finger gun is, he's gonna do that, or give him like a wink as he goes by, because he knows people are probably staring at him because of the way that he looks.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of people. You see these, as you're making your way down, and the fighting ring is closer towards the southern end of town, near the port. Just it's easy for people to get off and load up and see a quick show there. You can see that there are these two people that sort of burst out of this tavern, very angry, very upset, murmuring to each other, and then they see you, and they see you walking with Aldous, and the two of them back and forth. You can see this one woman goes, look at this fucking guy, thinking he's all great with his armor and his weapons. Yeah, but he ain't shit, though.
Oh, I can hear them say this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, friends friends, good morning to you too. It's great to see you. Are you talking about me?
Yeah, we were talking about you. What the fuck, are you deaf?
Oh no, I heard. You want to put that fucking mouth of yours to the test? I'll see you in the fucking pits then. And Alfian will like step right into his face.
And Aldous, he kind of, oh, all right there, buddy. And he kind of lightly taps your shoulder and kind of intersteps between the two of you. And he says, now listen here, friend. You may think that you're worth more than this fellow right here. Listen, were you here last evening? Guy goes, yeah, we sailed in last. What does that have to do with anything? Well, you see, this young, very handsome man right here.
Well, handsome, yes, that's good. Throw that in every time.
You know it. You know who this is? This is the butcher. Now, you might remember his handiwork from the fighting pits last night. There was a young elven boy thought he was worth a spit. My handsome, dashing friend here put him in his place. So if you want to go up against him, I'm totally okay with that. But why don't we save it for the ring if you feel like you're really worth it, huh?
Kind of.
The entire time, I want Alfian to just be like cheesing at him.
Okay. So
The brightest smile you've ever seen.
Aldous takes out his matches, strikes one, cigar in his mouth, lights it. So, and blows the smoke in the guy's face. How about you fuck off, huh? All right.
Oh,
Talk to you later.
it's great. It's great.
Come
Bye
on.
for now, friends. Hope to see you later.
See you in the pits.
Tell your wife I said hi.
All right, and as he laughs, the two, they just kind of, fuck, and you can tell that the two of them have not had a good day so far. And it seems like you get a feeling it won't get any better from here on out. So you head off and you head to the fighting rings. So the thing is, Nalfian, for you getting to the pits, doing your... well, I want to ask you, do you have any rituals before you head into the fight?
Other than just checking over his two main weapons, not really. He just kind of sharpens them and tightens his little ponytail he's got going on. But other than that, nope.
Alrighty. So you complete those rituals, and it's time for your fight. You get settled in right away by Aldous, and you can hear from the opposite end of the cage door in the fighting arena you're in, you can hear him shout out, "Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor on this bright and cheery Monday afternoon to bring you the biggest fight of the century. And I know, it seems odd, but I cannot, in good conscience, make it so that you're too drunk to remember what's happened. A favorite of the very wonderful town of Sandpoint, may I introduce the butcher, Nalfian." And Nalfian, the gate rises in front of you. What is your entrance like into the ring?
Full Chris Jericho style, just like hands in the air,
Le Champion.
like Le Champion, the biggest smile, the biggest, like his teeth are brilliantly white. I mean, his skin is like this beautiful onyx color, so his teeth are so brilliant as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just, that's his best asset. So he's just smiling, hands in the air, like it's an honor for them to see him as he strides to the
Oh yeah, and
ring.
There is this combination of cheers and boos, where you know that you are, to use another wrestling term, you are a wonderful heel, where the people here love to hate you. They really, really do, and they really, really love whenever you are in the arena fighting. And then as the cheers eventually die down, he says, I know! One of the best fighters we have, but today it is a special day because... And he takes a puff of his cigar.
The butcher will be going up against the one, the only, the shield.
And you can see the gate rise up, and you see this wall of metal enter through, just covered head to toe in different sheets of iron and steel and any other type of metal that this Goliath could find, standing maybe 7.5, maybe 8 feet tall, just clunk, 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 the different heavy footfalls and the clanking of metal on metal as he enters the ring. Now, two of you locked in there, standing maybe 25, 30 feet apart. He says, "Now, gentlemen, I expect to see a very dirty, very gruesome fight. So why don't you give all of these wonderful people here something to cheer for?" So with that, pulls out the cigar, flicks it down the sandy arena beneath him. "Let the fight commence." So, now, Nalthian, you've been taking down people bigger than you for most of your life. And this guy's a novelty. He's not actually a skilled fighter. I mean, the way that you can outmaneuver and outpace him, especially when you're in your element, people cheering for you and booing for you out of love, it's easy to win this fight. So I want to ask you, do you make this an easy, do you make it look easy, or do you kind of do what Aldous was promising, and do you make it a really,
Oh, I oversell everything.
Shawn Michaels
So
versus Hulk
I
Hogan?
will pretend, yeah, exactly. I will, anytime he tries to make a swing at me, I will just happily, I'll take it and just be like, "Oh, you got me." But he's obviously making it into a show, right? But the first half of the fight, I want it to be that.
Okay. Alrighty.
About halfway through, there'll be a moment where the shield will go to swing, and instead of taking it like Nalfian has been, he will just straight up kick him in the dick. At that moment,
Okay.
Nalfian has beautiful silver eyes, almost as silver as his hair. He has this long white hair. There's a moment where those silver eyes, there's a black fog almost that kind of creeps in, and it's no longer silver, it's as black as his skin. And that is when he's no longer selling and he's no longer playing around. He will end it very soon.
Okay, alrighty. And then, so typically in the rings, it's near death, right? Till they're unconscious. So does this rage overtake you, or do you keep going with the rules?
He will keep going, but he will cut off a finger to remind him who he is.
Alrighty. So easy enough. You do that, and as soon as you kick him in the balls, there's this clunk of the metal ringing, and the Goliath. And then in that moment, as he's sort of hunched over, you are able to unleash on him and absolutely destroy him. And eventually he falls over onto the ground, bits and pieces of metal and steel clanking off to the side. You can hear people cheering and screaming at you that, no, you can't win. No, get up. And you grab onto his hand, you take out a small dagger, and you whoosh. Which finger do you take?
I will take his middle finger.
Okay, yeah.
On his right hand.
On his right hand, okay.
Whichever hand he was using to swing his blade with. I'll take that one.
Right hand, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then after I take it, I would like to put it in his mouth, please.
Oh, God. Alrighty, so you cut it off.
And then I would like to, if you may, after I put it in his mouth, just kind of grabbing him by his hair, just holding his head up to look at the audience. "Look, friend, they're cheering for you. It's great, isn't it?" And I'll just drop his head.
Falls over. The sand poofs up around him and eventually falls down to settle beside him. The crowd cheers and boos, and you can see Aldous pulling out another cigar and lighting it. And gives you a wink and a smile as the gate behind you opens. And you can see him head downstairs to meet you around in the fighters' resting area before they go on. So, you make your way back, and you're waiting there for a short moment, sort of maybe patching up any wounds that he might have caused just by pure happenstance. And you can see Aldous make his way, and walking with Aldous is a man that you've never seen before. He wears a very frilly shirt that is underneath this like duster jacket that has been sort of pieced together and compiled from what looks like 7 different jackets, where there's a blue sleeve and a brown shoulder piece, a red cloak, a green shoulder piece on the other arm, a brown glove on the that same arm, very large tri-corner hat with this big, like, feathery plume falls off to the side. You can see a cutlass in one side, and then strapped on his belt are 2 different what looks to be like one blunderbuss and then one smaller flintlock pistol.
Do I recognize this person?
No, this person you do not recognize. You've never seen him, but whoever he is, he has one heck of a sense of style. And you can see Fightmaster Aldous sort of looking at you a little nervously with a smile, cigar in his hand, and he says,
Now, Fionn, I'd like to introduce you to, that special investor of a sort.
Ah, a pleasure. Pleasure, friend. Glad you got to witness, the great work that I do.
You can see the man kind of takes a glove off and tucks it into his belt, and the words that come out, they're in this thick accent that Nalfian, you've never heard before, and he says,
Yes, well, it was quite the show.
You're welcome.
Aldous, you may leave us for the moment. I will come find you when I am ready.
He says,
Of course. Alrighty, well, have fun, Nalfian.
takes a whiff of his cigar and heads off out, leaving only you and this man in the room together. And crosses his arms. He says,
So, they're competent with blade, yes?
Very much so, friend.
Yes, I could tell your handiwork was, it was quite nice, I have to say.
I appreciate the kind words.
Let me introduce myself.
my name is Captain Hugo. And he outstretches a very firm, calloused hand, that of a sailor. So, let's see him here. Scars cutting up his face, big, bushy black beard.
Nalfian will extend his hand. Nalfian Benair, the pleasure is certainly all yours.
Yes, it seems as though that is the case. So, Nalfian, I am saying that correctly, yes?
Correct.
Good.
And he kind of looks around for a moment, and looks back to you.
If you could do me a favor, I would be greatly in debt of it.
What kind of favor are we talking here?
Well, I guess a favor is wrong word. A favor that promises payment.
Who do you want dead?
No. I want no one dead. No.
You sure?
Oh, I'm very sure. Believe me, if I were to want someone dead, that is something I am very capable of doing myself.
Alright then.
It is common to my... Well, let me not get too far ahead of myself. Nalfian, why don't you meet me on my ship in, say, 3 hours? How does that sound?
Sounds like something I can manage.
Of course. Good. Look for it. There is a very large frigate in the harbor. big, beautiful mass of green, blue, yellow, and red. Very hard to miss. And just so you know that you are not wasting your time, he pulls out a small purse, and he pulls out a coin. And you anticipate it to be silver. Or even, considering the way that he dresses, you might anticipate it to be gold. But instead, what he does is he pulls out something you have only heard of. 1 platinum piece. 1 coin, apparently, is worth 10 gold. And he puts it in your palm very lightly, leaves it there. Believe me, now, Finn. And he jingles the bag. Clink, 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 clink. There is much more where that came from.
I'll be there.
Good.
I'll see you then.
Very good. So, he leaves, and you are left there with your 1 platinum piece.
I will do the typical douchebag thing, and I'll flick it and then put it in my pocket.
All right, so you do. And with that, you head to meet him at his ship in 3 hours. So, as you are finishing up whatever rituals you need to do, you do collect your payment from your earnings from the fight, which would be 5 gold.
Yeah.
7 silver. And 85 copper.
Thank you.
So as you are counting your earnings, you spend the rest of your time doing what exactly before you head to his ship in the harbor?
He'd probably take a very long bath, because he wants to look his best always and smell his best always. Probably get a drink or 2 before heading out, toss him back, and head over.
Okay. Alrighty, so you do. So from there, we are going to head to Izzy. So, Isabine, you have been in the market area of Sandpoint for a while now, making sure that you are offering your identification service whenever need be, but I'm curious as to know where you might be staying in the time being while you're here, and what your morning ritual looks like.
Izzy would probably be staying close distance to the market.
Okay.
Living comfortably off her income.
Okay.
And then spending her free time trying to scratch scrolls or researching her books.
Okay, very cool. So, I will say that the inn that is closest to the market would be the Carp Cove. There are 3 main ones in here. So, in Sandpoint, since there are a lot of people that come in, there needs to be quite a few taverns in town to be able to support that influx of people every day. So you're staying there comfortably, not very expensive. In the mornings, it's not gross. You're able to get any type of services you might need while you're there. And you're easily enough able to enjoy some bit of quiet in the morning to go over your scrolls and tomes and make sure that you are getting everything checked in and making sure you're not missing any information. So, you begin to settle in after you finish your morning rituals and head to market, I assume?
Yep. That way I could set up at probably a stall I'm probably either renting or talk somebody into letting me use to offer my services for identifying if something is magical or identifying it out if somebody knows it is magical for a relatively small fee. Cheaper than the pearl they would have to buy themselves.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So you set up shop, and you know that most days, there's typically once or twice a week where you get somebody who comes in who asks you to identify something. Like I said before, they typically tend to not be magical, but still, services rendered needs to be services paid. So they still pay, sometimes not as happily, but you manage to get payment. On this day, you can see that there is this very fragile, gnomish-looking man who is kind of wandering near, and you can tell that he's trying to get to your stall. And you can see that he's holding this small, what looks to be maybe like an orb, almost like a crystal ball, but it has this like smoke that's swirling in it, and people kind of keep bumping into him, and he kind of keeps going, and he's like waddling through the street, just trying to get in and through, and eventually, he does get to your stall, and you can see him kind of look up at the counter towards you, and he says, "Excuse me, Biz, might I be able to purchase your services?"
Well, you've come to the right place. My name is Izzy, and this is Izzy's Identifiables. Do you have a magic item that you need me to identify?
Yes, I would love to see if there's anything magical about this orb. I don't know, but it seems like sometimes it.
And he pushes it up and sets it on the counter for you. And he says,
I think that there might be something magical about it. I hope, at least.
Okay, well, that would be easy enough. I have two options for you. I can first detect to see if there is an actual magical quality about it, and then identify it. Roughly, that'd be about 50-ish gold. Or I could just try to identify it, which would still be the 50 gold.
Oh, well, I'm feeling quite lucky. So let's just see, identify it, and hope that maybe it is.
Okay. Well, I will go ahead and start setting up my ritual. We'll get that identified for you. Go ahead and take a seat right there.
Oh, yes, of course.
sits down.
And then Izzy will actually come like in front of him, so that everything's transparent. That he's not trying to trick him.
Yeah, of course.
And begin setting up the identify ritual and ritually cast identify on the orb.
Okay, alrighty. So you go through the motions. After about 10 minutes, the spell triggers, and well, this item is magical. Surprised to say, it is. The orb, whenever you say the trigger word, which is fog, the smoke that is inside the orb actually leaks out and casts fog cloud, and it can do that once per day.
All right, I have determined it is magical.
Oh, yes.
Can I get my payment, please? And I'll be happy to tell you what it does.
Oh, of course. Right. 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, all the way up to 50. And he sets it on the counter for you.
Thank you very much. So your orb here is an orb of fog cloud.
Oh.
Whenever you say fog, it'll spew out smoke and create a magical fog around you.
Oh. Do you know how much I could sell it for?
Oh. DM, is this like a common magic item, or
yeah,
like a check where I could like try to see like how much it would be worth?
Yeah, go ahead and make a we'll say either Arcana or History. Either one would work.
They're both the same.
Oh, okay. Okay, 17. So yeah, you would know that something like this would probably sell. A high price would be about 125 gold for this, but it could sell for as low as 75, 80 gold.
Okay, so I would look at the small person and like, well, in the right market, you could probably get 100, 125. That's really the high price
Oh.
though.
Oh,
But it
okay.
can also be sold as low as like 75
Oh,
to 80 gold.
okay.
I would expect probably in a town our size, you might be able to get 90 if you sell it to like a magic user who resells, because they would want to make a profit as well.
Oh, all right. Um, do you know of anyone in town who would be able to purchase this off of me?
And Izzy, before you can even say anything, there's a voice that comes from the market that says,
Well, yes, she does.
and as both heads turn, maybe 10 feet away from you is Magus Cassius. Show that. Oh, wait a second. Let me dooka. Actually, let me keep that there and do that. Aha. So, Magus Cassius. There we go. So, as he stands with his sort of tussled up tunic that is open, his shoulder cape, scrolls, and his bag tied to his belt, the smile sort of breaks through his slightly curled mustache. And he says, yes, she does. My name is Magus Cassius. It's an honor to meet you, and I happen to be in the business of repurchasing and reselling magical items. So, you have something you'd like to sell, young man? A chuckle, and the older gnomish man says, "Oh, well, yes, I do. No need to flatter me." But yes, this. And the two of them have a brief exchange, and you see that luckily you told him what the high price was, because the gnomish man does haggle a little bit. And eventually they decide on 100 gold. So, Magus Cassius pulls out 100 gold, hands it to him, sends him on his way. Takes the orb, fog cloud, puts it in his own bag, slung over his shoulder. And you can see that as soon as it's put into the bag, it doesn't make a dent at the bottom. It just kind of disappears into the bag. And he tightens up the strap a little bit. Says,
So, Isabine, it's good to see you. I see business must be doing well.
Well enough. I get usually 2 or 3 folks a week trying to identify magic items. Usually they're not though, and they're kind of sad about it. But they still make a decent living.
Yes, very good. It makes me very, very happy to hear. I was hoping, and... well, not hoping, I was a little nervous, honestly, that... well, business might be a little slow in somewhere like Sandpoint, but I'm glad that it's going well for you. So, do you mind if we go on a walk momentarily?
Oh, of course. I was about to take a break anyways and smoke my pipe a little bit, but a walk will do just fine. Just let me put the sign out.
Oh, of course, of course.
And I will put like a sign out like on my little spell, like gone for break, return, in 20-ish minutes.
okay, yeah, sounds good to me. So you put the sign out, and you begin to walk with Cassius.
And he says, so, my dear, I had something that came up that I wanted to get your opinion on. Because I like to consider us, all things considered, business partners of a sort. Well, being the fact that we might be, one could consider us business partners, I don't think that it's unfair of me to get your opinion on certain things, although the journey is a little bit taxing on me. So, I was just curious how you might feel about going outside of the city limits.
Well, for what? Is there a particular reason? Something to learn out there?
Well, there's a lot to learn out there, my dear. There's so much, as I'm sure you're well aware of. Much of what exists out there is untapped and unexplored. Most people, they tend to take ship to get from Sailor's Shade to Sandpoint, and so on and so forth, and, well, very few people venture out into the forests that lie beyond the city limits. And I think, if you'd be willing to, not permanently, and not all of the time, but every once in a while take moments to head out of the city, to step out and to see if you can find anything. Would that be something that could strike your interest?
Well, of course, I like to look for secrets. Always trying to find new information, and it is my one day hope to open a magical shop of my own.
Yes, and my dear, I'd be more than happy. Go ahead.
Oh, now she just said, would you very no?
Yes, my dear, I am aware. And I would be more than happy to support you in this venture when we get there. And honestly, well, this is the part that I've been waiting for, because I think that it's the most exciting. I'm not asking you about this as just some venture in the future. Well, it's immediate. There is a very wealthy benefactor who met me in Sailor's Shade and then discussed with me what might happen, and payment, of course. And, well, I couldn't think of anyone better to accomplish this task than you. You've been here for a while, and, well, your skill with anything knowledgeable and arcane, I think, is insurmountable to anyone else on the Giant's Isle. Aside from myself, of course. Merely a jest. So, if you would be willing, and it sounds like something you'd be interested in, there's a ship in town. Belongs to this man. He's a little bit coarse, but most sailors are.
Of course.
He would love to get your opinion on something and make sure that the people he hires to do it, well, to make sure they don't mess anything up. You know how sellswords and mercenaries can be. They tend to have not very delicate hands.
I'll say, did you hear about the butcher the other night? Some warrior of sorts mutilated some other elf.
Oh, I did. And I respect anyone putting in their efforts into whatever their profession is, but it's just so gruesome, and I don't know. If you like that, Izzy, fine. But I think my stomach might be a little too weak for it.
Not really my cup of tea. It's just, I sleep in the tavern, so I hear about all these brutes beating each other senseless. It doesn't seem very intelligent to me when you lose him or an eye.
Oh no, most of the people who fight in those rings are not very intelligent at all. Most of them, they can't even smile properly because they're missing most of their teeth. Yes. Well, my dear, if you'd like, we could stop and get a bite to eat and something to drink, or if you'd prefer not to, I understand. Most days you wish not to have lunch with me, and if that's the case, I understand.
Well, I don't mind. Like you said, you are business partners. I'm assuming you'll probably head back to 7 Point soon. Or unattended too long.
Yes, exactly. Especially with the way business has been these past few months. More people wanting to go out and see the world, more people thinking they need magical artifacts to protect them. The only thing they don't know is, well, about 6 months later they end up being sold back to me because, well, they were worried so much about magical artifacts they didn't buy the right armor. Well, please, let us go get a bite to eat, and then, I suppose then it'll be time for you to head to the ship then.
Yeah, sounds Sounds like a thing. We should swing back by my stall, though, just to put up the close time. Since I got other work to do today.
Of course, of course. Please, lead the way.
And Izzy will do that and kind of like lead the way, and then probably head back to the same end where she stayed.
Okay. And the two of you...
Fond of the food there.
Yeah, alrighty. So the two of you do have a bite to eat. What do you get? Just curious.
Izzy really likes the fish. She like hates the dog, hates being down there, but the taste of fish and some greens to go with it, she's like really stoked for it. So she'd probably eat that or some sort of fish stew.
Okay, alrighty. Yeah, you can definitely get some like grilled salmon or something like that. And yeah, and he eats just a collection of fruit and cheese. No bread, no meat. You eat your lunch. The two of you chat a little bit more just about how business has been going, different magical artifacts you've received. And as you all finish up your lunch, he says, that reminds me, Izzy. It's not something we can talk about right now. And honestly, I don't know exactly which way it's going to turn, but whenever you get the chance, come to Sailor's Shade. I have something that I think might interest you. It's a certain a tome that I found about the conjuration of different, well, not just animals, but different items, different creatures. It's honestly all quite perplexing. In a very, very good way, I might add, but I know how you've shown some affinity for it, so if you'd like, I'd be more than happy to share that with you if you ever find yourself in Sailor Shade at my shop.
Oh, I'm sure I'll find my way there fairly soon. That sounds like a wonderful read, and honestly, I'm kind of running out of stuff except for these romance pirate stories that you have around here.
Yes. If I might recommend one, I am particularly fond of the Scarlet Seven. It's about, well, I suppose I shouldn't spoil the story for you.
I will definitely keep a lookout for that.
Yes, please do, and let me know how you feel about it. I'm quite a fan. Well, I must be heading off. I believe my ship is departing soon. He pulls out a small pocket watch, opens it. Oh, yes, I've stayed much too long. Well, clicks it shut, puts it back in his pocket. My dear Zabine, it's been great to see you these past few hours, and I look forward to hearing what you experience with this benefactor. I'm sure you'll understand what I mean when I say he was coarse.
Of course. Have a safe trip.
Yes. You as well, my dear. And he heads up, and he kind of darts out very quickly, seemingly definitely lost track of time. So, Izzy, in your remaining time, maybe an hour or two before you need to head to the ship, what would you like to do?
Well, if Izzy's going to be traveling soon, most likely because of a job, or the job might require her to travel. She would be going back through her spellbook to make sure she has everything prepared, and packed to be ready to leave if the job required.
Okay. Alrighty. Sounds good. So with that...
And feed Lizzie.
Oh. Yes, alrighty. So, it's in the form that we talked about, right?
The what?
It's in the main form, right?
Yes.
Okay, alrighty, cool. So you do give it a little bite to eat, and it sort of where is it probably in right now? Just kind of buried into your like the collar of your cloak or around your hat, or
Lizzie would like to like hang out on top of my head underneath the hat for the most part, or like deep into my cloak where she can't be seen very often.
Okay, so you
get startled.
So you know that Lizzie is a big fan of particularly like any type of very sweet fruit. So you take a little bit of a like mango, slice off a little portion of it, and hold it up near your forehead, and the little pseudo dragon head pops out and and sucks it in and then goes back into your hat. And you can hear it kind of almost giving off this slight like chewing purring noise as Lizzie is very, very well enjoying her small slice of mango. Okay. Alrighty, so you spend the rest of your time packing things up, getting everything ready, and then you head off towards the ship. And then that brings us to our final person in the trio here. We have Eurydice. So, Eurydice, as you are going through your morning routine, I'd like to ask you, where do you wake up at?
I would imagine she would try to either live in the shop,
Okay.
in the back or something like that, or somewhere very nearby so she is able to get up bright and early, even though she doesn't technically need to sleep, and sort everything out, make sure everything is done and ready and sorted as to Connoisseur Balazar.
Balasar.
Yeah.
Okay, and you would definitely, after working there for, how long have you been working in the shop for?
Probably a good few months, maybe 4 months.
Okay, so after 3, Balasar, she was more than happy to allow you to stay after you kind of proved that you were somebody to work with. And as you sort of finish your meditation, right, get up bright and early, and you head off into the shop, you begin to organize things, making sure that they are very, very specifically organized, and you make sure that all of the woodland scents are in one area, all of the fruit scents are in the other, all of the flower, herbal scents are in one area, trying to make sure everything is organized to her liking. The thing is, you're not the most perceptive person, but oh, the smell. It's just too much smells all happening at once. And you've tried to say something before, but you realize that you'll never make that mistake again because it was a very ugly day for Connoisseur Balasar. So, as you were organizing things, you know that they definitely spend quite a bit of time sleeping, right? They're an older lizard folk, so they spend most of the day sleeping away. And then eventually, you can hear this, their claws begin to step down the stairs from where they sleep above the shop. And you, well, as you are sort of organizing and cleaning, making sure everything's just how she wants it, you can see that she sort of looks out, has this very intricate pipe in her mouth already, the fumes of the smoke leaving out of her nose, sort of filling the area, and she says,
Eurydice?
Yes, good morning. I made sure I was here bright and early. I started. Everything should be perfectly organized as per usual.
I will be the judge of that.
Of course you will. Feel free to inspect, feel free to look around.
I will.
making these different grunts and groans as she's walking throughout, looking at the different piles. You see her pick up an incense stick, look at you, and place it on top.
Seems as though your careless moving around has knocked some of the piles loose.
Oh, my mistake. I can fix it right now. She'll start just kind of putting everything back where it's meant to be, making sure it's all perfect.
Very good. Good. It's important for us to be able to observe our mistakes and learn to be better. Good.
You know me. I'm always open to learning.
Smoke billowing out of her nose.
Trying to kind of maybe looking away a little bit, squinting, trying not to be obvious about trying to keep the smoke out of her face.
Okay. So and there's no regard for you at all. It's just kind of she's just blowing smoke wherever it goes. She.
What is this? Is this pine scents next to berry? Do you think I'm running some sort of sham here? Oh no, sorry. No, these are apple. My apologies, my dear. Oh.
It is perfectly fine.
I'm not as smart as my ancestors might lead on to be. Not everyone can be Nadar, hero of the Seven Rivers, Lord of the High Realms, Iverion. Not everyone can be as good as him. He was a distant relative of mine. I've told you that before. I know.
I believe once or twice, maybe. Yes.
Oh yes. Well, but it's not easy living up to a name like that. Sure, I could have been an adventurer. I could have gone out and sailed the seas and done quite many things. But no, I decided to open up a shop and have incense that be sold because, well, there's no worse fate in this world than having a house that smells bad.
Exactly. That's why you made the right decision, obviously.
Thank you, my dear. Every day, you make me think that you might be one of the good ones.
Thank you very much. Well, yes. If everything is open to your liking, then surely we should open up for today.
Yes. Open the sign. I'm surprised you haven't done that already. Well, I thought you were one of the good ones, but I guess I may have been wrong.
I was just waiting to make sure you saw to how you expect it, and she's gonna run over and make sure the open sign is the right way and it is all very welcoming and inviting.
Well, I guess that's a good point, my dear. Never mind, you're one of the good ones.
Thank you.
So, with that, the day commences. She sits behind the counter, and anytime people enter through the door, you make sure to give them a very happy welcome, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. And you try and help people discover anything that they might need, any sense that they might want. And there is this man who comes in maybe around noon, maybe 1:30, in that range, and he has a cigar in his mouth. He says, "Excuse me, dear.
Hello. How can I help you?
Hi there. Well, I was wondering if you could help me with something.
Yes, of course. What is it?
Oh, wait, am I allowed to smoke in here, or should I,
I think the scent in here might cover it up quite well.
Very good.
He kind of blows it. Make sure to... It's a pleasant surprise for you because he makes an effort to blow the smoke away from your face.
He says, well, I'm looking for something that, well, pleasant, very, womanly, I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah, something with a female touch. I should phrase it that way.
I see. Well, she will start directing him. She says, well, over here, it's all been freshly organized this morning. There is all the flowers, all these very lovely scents that you could absolutely pair with that feminine touch. If you want to, you can smell a couple, see which one takes your fancy.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Here, can you hold this? Handing you his cigar.
She does. Yeah, she holds it kind of with the ends of her fingers.
Okay.
But...
Picks up one.
All right.
Picks up another.
Okay.
Picks up a third one. Not very much. And you can see that he's kind of putting them out of order as he's putting them down.
She will try to, she's kind of holding herself back, and then when he gets further along, she'll quietly rearrange them back to the order.
Okay. Alrighty.
You know what? I do kind of like this one.
It's an excellent choice. If you, I can take it to the counter over there. We can.
Oh, of course.
We'll wrap it for you.
Very good.
And she'll lead him over to where Connoisseur Balazar is sitting by the counter.
Connoisseur Balasar says,
So you have found something that you would like? I saw you poking about and smoking. I assume that has led to something being purchased?
kind of takes the cigar back and he says,
Well, yeah, that's why I'm here at the counter. I wanted to purchase 3 of these, I don't know what scent that is, but they smell nice.
Connoisseur Balazar picks them up and gives a long whiff.
Yes, that is freshly ground lavender. Very good choice for a woman's touch.
Yeah, thanks, that's what I thought. That's why I'm getting them.
Yes.
So, tell me, and he's looking to you, Eurydice.
Yep.
You know, you seem like, well, no offense to, you, madame, but you seem like you don't exactly, want to live in the, incense game for the rest of your life. Tell me, you got any other, special talents? Anything you can do?
I would say that actually it is nice working here. I am very happy to help Connoisseur to organize and run the shop. I generally just, my ambition is mostly just to help people. I think I am very friendly and I guess one could say charismatic.
Okay.
Yes. If you were looking for skills, I suppose I can. Well, she just uses prestidigitation and just snuffs out one of the candles and then lights it again.
Oh. So, listen, you're working in this shop here. You good with, plants a little bit?
Oh, yes. Plants. Yes, I spent a lot of time studying them. I find them particularly interesting.
Okay, all right. Hey. Takes one long puff of his cigar.
Would I be able to ask you why you're so interested?
Well, tell me, how long do you want to keep working at this incense store? How much you paying you?
How much? I'm gonna guess it's not a lot.
No. It's
No.
most of your pay is by being able to live here.
Okay. She says, well, a lot of my pay goes to me being able to use this as an accommodation. I suppose I would like to move on when the opportunity arises, as long as Connoisseur Balazar would be okay with that, and I know that she'd have some help, and I wouldn't be leaving her all on her own.
Yeah. All right. How about this? I can send someone over tomorrow morning to replace you, and you come with me. And oh, sorry, my dear, I haven't introduced myself. Most people they tend to recognize me, but I can get that you're not the type of person to visit those visit where I tend to hang around. It's nice to meet you. My name is Fightmaster Aldous, and the mane of gray and black hair, big bushy beard, cigar in his hand.
Okay.
Now I'm not asking you to fight, because I can tell from your pleasant disposition that, well, not exactly your type of thing. But I was told by a close friend of mine, as I have now come to understand him, that he's been on the lookout for people of a certain stature. Well, looking for somebody that knows plants and knows a little bit about magic. Those two things combined, I think. Well, my dear, you've got both of those things.
Yes, they sound like they could apply to me, and you would be quite right. I am not one for those fights. I'm not the butcher, unfortunately. But
So you've heard of him. Now, how come everybody knows about my starfighter, but nobody knows about me? I think it's a little unfair, but hey,
I guess he's the one who does all the hard work, right? I'm just a pencil pusher.
I wouldn't say that at all. I imagine you do far more than he gives you credit for.
Only a little bit. Well, if anything, I'd like to have you around just to flatter me, make me feel better about myself.
Well, from what you're saying, it sounds like it would be an interesting opportunity. And she turns to Connoisseur Balazar. If you knew somebody was coming to replace me soon, I mean, of course, with some of the shoddy jobs I've done organizing your store, would you mind too much if I was to take up this new path?
You said someone would be here tomorrow morning? Are they someone who knows how to neatly organize stacks of incense and candles and also knows when to open the open sign?
Aldous kind of looks at her with like cocked eyebrows. I mean, how hard could it be, right? I'll send you somebody who at least has all their fingers. How's that sound? Blows the smoke in her face.
I'm sure they'll be far more capable than I am.
Fine, it's not like I liked having you here anyway. You can pack your bags and be on your way. Eurydice.
Oh. She takes a puff of her pipe and hers exhales out and up instead of out and forward. So she tries to blow it out towards him, but it just sinks up into the air or floats up into the air. And he says, I don't think that's working for you. Well, don't worry. I'm sure I'll be back for more of these incense stick here. I do like the way these are made. So you've got a new loyal customer. All right. Well, Eurydice, that's what she said your name was?
Yes, Eurydice.
Very good. Well, pack your bags and... Well, I think life's about to change for you, dear.
I can definitely see that too. At Connoisseur Bazaar, I would like you to know that I have thoroughly enjoyed working here, and I am very grateful that you allowed me to stay in the shop.
No one likes a suck-up.
Of course. I will just go and... She starts heading back, and she'll go... She doesn't have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So it does not take long for her to just pack it all up in a bag.
Alrighty. Cool. So, pack up all your stuff. You head out with Fightmaster Aldous, and you can tell that Connoisseur Balazar is definitely like staring you down as you leave. And Aldous kind of... he whispers down to you out of earshot from her.
Don't worry about her, dear. She's always been like this for as long as she's lived here. I'm sure she'll forget about you tomorrow.
I don't doubt it.
Alrighty, well, hey, Balazar, I hope that you have a great rest of your day, dear, and promise you I'll be back in a week's time. All right, have a good one.
And slams the door behind him. It's your bias cut off.
Alrighty. Well, I guess that means... Gotta head off to that meeting. Now,
listen, and he begins to walk and talk as the two of you head near the harbor where the ships are at.
He says, now, dear.
And he definitely enters more of a hushed tone as he gets closer to you as the two of you are walking side by side.
Not gonna sugarcoat it, all right? There's some pretty, this guy seems, he's a close friend, I like to consider. But part of the reason why I came to find you is I've seen you around town before, and you're always really, really nice, and you always seem to care about the way things are done. So, there's one person going on this little mission. Well, he's nice enough, but I'm a little worried he might get a little in over his head and maybe a little too aggressive at times. And I do it because I care about him. And his friend told me he was looking for somebody good with plants and good with magic, and well, you just happen to be both those things. So listen, you'll recognize him when you see him. But just try and make sure he doesn't get into too much trouble.
I'm sure that I can try and live up to that. Do you have a name for this individual?
Well, my dear, you already said it once today. Some people
Oh,
call him the Butcher, but his name's Nelfian.
right. Yes, I know who you mean.
Yes. So, try and, keep him as calm as you can, but,
And you see him kind of wrestling with something, and he says,
you know what, never mind, I'm sure it won't come up at all. Just, if it seems like he's getting a little too angry, it might be best to just take a step back.
Okay, I'm sure I can handle whatever it is he will be frying, but trust me, I will do my best, and he is in safe hands.
Of course. All right. Thank you. And, well, looky there. Isn't that nice?
so as you approach, you now see that you are near the docks. And there, you can see the different small buildings that are near the dock that are meant for loading and unloading supplies from different areas. Very shanty, hastily put together in some of these wooden walkways. But one thing that that does catch your eye is the harbor is full of lots of different ships of different varying shapes and sizes, but there's one that is much larger than the rest. A frigate, huge ship with these wonderfully colorful sails. And Aldous points up and he says,
That's the one right there. Head on board, say that Aldous sent you, and they should get you right to him. He's, just,
kind of gets in a little closer.
didn't have time to tell this to Nalfian, but just be wary, those Tarkirians, they can be a little shifty, not always honest all the time. They talk about chivalry, but you can't really trust it.
All right. Well, I will be vigilant and cautious.
Good, alrighty. Best of luck to you, dear, and
Thank you very much.
I look forward to seeing what you come up with.
So do I.
So, no.
She's gonna head on over to the ship.
Alrighty. So the man puffs his cigar, looking at you as you walk away, exhales, and then heads off in the opposite direction. So, with that, Eurydice, as you walk aboard the ship, there are a few people who ask you why you're here. You inform them, and you're taken into the captain's quarters. Now, Nalfian and Izzy, you've been here for maybe 15, 20 minutes. And you haven't really been talking at all to Captain Hugo, as he's just kind of been idly talking to himself, writing things down, slicing off a little bit of cheese off of a block with a dagger, and then eating it. And then as soon as Eurydice walks in, the door shuts behind you, and he says, and Izzy and Eurydice, this is the first time you're hearing this thick dialect, and seeing the man. He says,
Hello, my name is Captain Hugo. It is a pleasure now to meet all three of you formally. So, I'm sure the three of you have many questions as to why we are doing things so covertly.
I would definitely be curious.
Yes. Well, what I find myself in a very precarious position. A precarious position where I cannot do it on my lonesome. Where there are other things that need my assistance in the current moment. So I must hire those who I deem worthy. Reaching out to a mage friend of mine, he pointed me to Izzy. And then to the fight master, Aldous, he pointed me to you, pointing to you, Nalfian.
When you say his name to the other two women in the room, he will just give them each a wink.
Ladies' man, I like it. And then he told me that he did not have one such as you. He said he had an idea, but I am glad to see that he found one. It bodes well for him, truly. So, I'm sure all of you are curious as to what this job may be.
He kind of stands.
Most of my life I have spent dedicated to the seas, making sure all of those who sail and want to sail can do so freely, without cause or reason for anxiety or anger. But sometimes these investigations, they pull me closer to places where, well, I should not be. Where people should not be. So, what I would like the three of you to do, with your knowledge of the arcane, your knowledge of nature, and your knowledge of the blade, I would like the three of you to go out, past the aspect of the city, the terrain of the city, to look for something for me. In fact, I don't even want to keep it. You can do whatever you want with it. Keep it, burn it, destroy it. It just cannot fall into the wrong hands. And if Aldous and Cassius believes the three of you are good, so be it. I do not know much, but all I know is that if this thing falls into the wrong hands, bad things could happen.
And where exactly is this located?
It is located maybe, according to certain navigators that I have, it is located maybe 2 to 3 hours outside of the city. Through the forest that exists out there, you should be able to find it through there. It is due north of the harbor.
And what does it look like?
Well, that is the most curious thing. It looks no different than what you would consider a common house lily. It is slightly larger. Definitely easy to spot out of a group of them because the petals, they alternate red and yellow.
You see, like, as soon as you say that word, Nelfin just kind of, like, adjusts the way he was sitting. He's still listening. He's just uncomfortable.
Do we notice that he gets uncomfortable?
He wasn't trying to hide it. He was just made a clear throat sound and changed positions he was sitting.
Okay, so yeah, you would both notice it then. Seems like Captain Hugo doesn't really pay any mind to it.
Okay.
As he says,
So I will be leaving as soon as the three of you depart my ship. But payment will be made in advance. That is how serious I am about this.
Oh, you're going to pay me to spend 2 to 3 hours with 2 beautiful women for a flower. This is a
Searching
deal made in heaven,
for a
if I ever
flower.
heard one.
Searching for a flower, I believe he said.
Oh, you can bet your sweet little ass, sweetheart, will find that flower.
At this point, Izzy will take outer pipe and use prestidigitation to light it, and then inhale deeply and blow it towards the both of them, and use prestidigitation to make it a strong tobacco odor.
She's going to use prestidigitation back to the flowers.
the duel of the century.
This is gonna be a fucking party.
Well,
And after we flower, what do we do with it?
As I said, you could do whatever you want with it. If Aldous and Cassius are in your corner, they believe that you are capable of this. You can do whatever you wish. You can burn it, you can
How
throw
hard
it in
is
the
it to
ocean.
find a fucking flower?
Who is this wrong hands that you speak of? Is somebody else looking for this flower? Should we be alert for enemies? I'm assuming so, since you're hiring him.
Nothing, sweetheart. And he'll wink at you.
That is what I was getting to. I do not know exactly what may be on your path. But this flower was once used, well, the texts are dodgy. Some say, and some, a very few group of people, they say that the flower was used for healing and health. But it seems as though more of them say that this was something that was used by House Markle.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in the chat for all of you.
Thank you.
Yes. Markle.
It was something that was used.
And when he says Markle, Nalfian, that doesn't mean anything to you. You know that people say, it's something that you've heard before. Somebody said that you're mad as a Markle, but that's just a name. It doesn't mean anything to you. But Eurydice and Izzy, the two of you, at least, being from this general area, you know that that is something that is not taken lightly. Even saying that name in the wrong context is almost like, saying Hamlet or saying Macbeth on stage, where it's a sign of bad luck. Because Markle, the two of you know, is a house that existed amongst the Isles. So there are 3 houses that exist on the isle that you're at. Under House Gunner, which is the main house. But to the south, there was another island that is almost double the size of this one that was one house on its own that used to be the head, and that was House Markle. And no one really knows what happened to House Markle. They just stopped. Any messages or letters that were coming from there stopped. Anybody who sailed there to try and figure out what happened, they never returned. No messages were ever returned. Everyone assumes that they just... some forbidden horror decided that it was their time to go, and nobody knows what happened to them.
Some say that it was used by them in nefarious means. I do not know what the truth is, but if that is the case, I would prefer to have a place to come and rest my head whenever I am in Iverion. So, if it is something that can be aided by a group of 3 such as yourselves, so be it. If I am worrying about nothing, good. And if you find nothing, even better. But if I can prevent something like that from happening, that is the best thing I could do. So,
Payment.
your payment.
You were talking about payments, yeah.
For you, Nalfin, he tosses a small pouch of gold, and you can hear it clatter, and as you open it up, you count it out. There's about 50 gold in there.
Okay.
I know that for you, Cassius told me that you care much for scrolls. So,
Always looking to learn.
of course. So, what I have for you is a group of different ones. And you can have 2 of any of these that you choose.
So he pulls out 5 different rolls of paper. And you can pretty much just have 2 of these scrolls. So you can either have Burning Hands. So here, let me type these in the chat. Burning Hands. Floating Disc. Illusory Script. Shield. Or Unseen Servant. So those are the 5 scrolls, and you can have your choice of 2 of them. So
he will speak up. I will take the unseen servant, and the burning hands sounds the most useful to the type of magic I like to learn.
Well, I am happy to be of assistance.
takes the other 3, puts them back in a small leather-bound case, and then he looks to you, Eurydice, and he says,
Now you are the one who I don't know anything about. So, you tell me what you would like. Gold, knowledge?
Well, if we're going to be helping people, a little bit of gold would be nice, considering this is a new path and I left where I was before. But if we're helping people, I'm not too concerned about the reward.
Well, I mean, you're going to be spending the day with me. That's a reward within itself.
Oh, you're one of those.
Oh,
so as
I'm
he's
sorry. I will correct you, darling. It is the one. Thank you for noticing.
Yes, well, that is all well and good.
as he raises up a hand, and he pulls out another small pouch, and he tosses it to you, Eurydice, and you catch it, count it, and it is also 50 gold. More gold than you've ever seen in one place altogether.
Her eyes widen a tiny bit, and she's like, "Oh, okay, that's a lot." And she puts it away.
Good. So, I think that all of you should head out immediately. The longer this flower exists, the more danger the people of this isle are in.
Yes, I imagine so. We should get going pretty quickly.
So, well,
Right?
we will be undocking and setting sail as soon as the three of you leave. So, as I said, please make sure that you do what is necessary to make sure that that flower does not fall into the wrong hands. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Good. Now go. I hope that our paths do not cross again.
Nalfian will be the first to stand, and he will kindly open the door for the two ladies to leave.
Eurydice smiles and walks by.
I guess I could describe my characters, Joe.
Yes, yeah. So as the three of you now finally are getting up and beginning to move out, you've been so focused on Captain Hugo that you really haven't had a chance to look at anyone or get a good read on anyone aside from the brief interactions that the three of you had. So now, if the three of you would like to describe your characters now that you're standing up, able to get a good look at one another.
Yeah, Nalfian would be like by the door, kindly opening the door for them to leave first. So he's rather tall, well over 6, and built very. He's tall and lean. Like it's very lean muscle. He's not not built like a football player, but more like basketball player. So he looks like he's fast on his feet. I guess I'll say that. He has worn leathers. He is a dark elf. So he has very, very dark onyx-like skin, and very striking white long hair. He has your typical that kind of guy, like shaved on both sides, but then a very, very long ponytail top of his head. Brilliant white smile. He's always grinning, like he knows the secret that you don't, or a joke that no one else is in on. And he has like very piercing silver eyes. He has a very decadent like rapier on his hip. And the pommel of the rapier is shaped like a rose. But that's like the most interesting looking weapon on him. His armor looks very plain. He's very handsome, and he will be the first one to tell you that.
Love that. Okay, well, Eurydice, her demeanor is very, very different. It's just warm and open and kind, and somebody who is definitely trying to be approachable. Sure. She is an elf. She's a wood elf, so she's not super, super pale. But her hair is long and, well, mid-length and wavy. It goes from a light brownish red down to a blonde. And from what you can see, she has tattoos that kind of come across her forehead, down across her cheekbones. And anytime she, like, maybe a sleeve moves, you can see them across her arm and across her hands too. They are a sort of deep maroonish color. Her armor as well. A leather, but very kind of nicely shaped, very much like the picture. And she wears a lot of maroon, red, different shades of red, a bit of maybe some grey. And she just generally looks very, very kind, very nice. She has a pleasant smile about her. She's also short.
And then Izzy.
Izzy is also fairly outgoing and cheerful. She usually has, if she's not working, she just happens to be traveling or resting, she usually will smoke on a long pipe. What's weird about it is, as she's smoking, the smoke is usually different shades of color. She has a tall witch's hat, wide brimmed. For the people who are like very perceptive, they may see a scaly tail every now and then kind of flick out and then back in to the hat. She has long blonde hair that goes down past her butt. The ends of it are a bright shade of blue. It's a reasonable assumption it's done by magic, as it's a really bright shade of blue. Her clothes are kind of scholarly, but also made to be traveled in. Definitely can tell she's probably a bookworm and a magic user. And she's only about 5'2".
Aw.
Aw.
And
Okay.
her eyes glow bright blue when she uses magic. And her hair brightens also.
Ooh. Alrighty. Very cool. Okay, so the three of you.
I'm gonna get way too into this character. I apologize.
Mr. Serial Girl. Alrighty. So with that, all of you taking stock of one another, you head off of the ship, you head back onto the dock, and as soon as you do, the anchor is raised, and the boat slowly begins to drift away from the harbor, turn around, and begin to sail off into the distance. Westward towards the open ocean, and then who knows where from there. So, with that, the three of you begin to head off, and you know that the grove is located in the northern areas of the... he said that it was due north, like directly straight north of this harbor. So you begin to head that way. Does anybody need to stop anywhere, or are you guys good to just head out?
No,
I
left
think
the away.
Izzy is good to go.
Yes, I believe we are all good to go.
Alrighty, very cool. So with that, you exit out from the city, from the town, and you begin to make your way into the forest. So as you begin to make your way in, you can see that the area is beautiful. As I said, it is a temperate forest. So it's, like I said, it's a temperate island. It's much closer to Ireland or the UK as opposed to, like the Caribbean. So you begin to make your way through, surrounded by, birch and redwood and oak trees. And you begin traversing as best you can. So I'd like one of the three of you to make a survival check as you're trying to make your way through.
Let's see what our modifier is.
Well, aren't you the nature girl?
Yes, so survival is a +2.
All right, there you go.
Anybody else? Okay. She will take the lead as Analfian, I guess, has probably put himself at the front. She will walk up beside him.
Well, he'll gladly let you walk in front of him.
She will make a point to walk beside him and be like, well, I think it would just be better so I can help you watch your step.
No problem. You smell delightful, so I welcome your company.
Sure, you do. Let's see. Oh, that's not bad.
He's your good luck charm.
Oh.
Okay, I'll stop.
Okay.
If he keeps being like that, she will purposely put him in the wrong direction so he trips over something.
So now, do you continue to do it?
I mean, he's just enjoying her company. He hasn't done much other than just, breathe in her scent. It's not like he's doing the whole yawn and stretch arm shoulder thing.
Okay. All right.
He knows when he's being too much. He's just walking and smiling and just enjoying both of their company. He's not doing anything extra yet.
I mean, as she's walking, she will make light conversation, just nicely.
Oh, absolutely. He'll tell you all about his, his fights that he's won.
Oh yeah, she is listening avidly.
Love.
You're talking.
Oh, Lizzie, you'll want to make sure you hear this part too. And he'll go on.
But yes, I am particularly enjoying the gruesome details of how you cut off his finger.
It's my specialty.
Okay. I guess we keep walking.
All right. So all of you make light conversation as you begin to head due north. And luckily, Eurydice, with your survival check, you do manage to catch just a couple of what seem to be larger. You do have to traverse a couple of rivers, but considering that, right now it's only August, like the end of August, I mean, the weather's still fairly warm. So there's really no issues there, and the water is a little chilly, but honestly, on the hot day that today is, it's nice. So you make your way through the river, but there's a couple times where you do catch there are a few drop-offs, and you make sure to tell your traveling companions, like, hey, watch out. And luckily they do, and you manage to get them all the way through this forest after, 3-4 hours. You eventually arrive at what looks to be a clearing of sorts, where the trees definitely begin to sparse out a little bit more. There's not as many in the surrounding area that you're looking towards, and you can see these fields of white lilies that seem to kind of pop up every once in a while. And the thing is, you don't see any red or white yet. I mean, you just don't see anything like that. But what you do see, Eurydice, just sort of keeping an eye out, looking around, you do see these crows cawing at you. Maybe just one at first, which isn't too strange in these forests, you would assume, but then you see a third and a fourth one landing near each other. And at that point, Izzy and Nalfian, you also see them cawing at you. And as you look around, you see that there is this sound of wood snapping. And you begin to look around thinking that you're being attacked. Somebody's going to jump out at you, but you don't see anybody emerge from the bush. Instead,
I will draw my rapier.
Draw your rapier.
I will draw my wand.
Draw your wand. You ready to see? Do you prepare anything?
Her tattoos are going to start faintly glowing red. She prepares Eldritch Blast.
Okay, you prepare that, and as you are, you can see that clattering out of the bush, not human in the way that you would anticipate, not covered in skin, no meat on its bones. It is just bone, as you see 4 or 5 different skeletons crawling out of the bush, moving, shambling towards you. And as you look around, you can see that, well, as you look off into the distance, you can see 2 people that aren't skeletons. It is the most peculiar thing, but you see that those 2 people over there, they haven't noticed you yet, but you can see that there are also 4 skeletons that have begun to move out of the bush towards them. You're maybe only 30, 40 feet away from them, and you see 4 skeletons moving towards you and 4 moving towards them. And you see this odd, human-looking man, but with a really gruffed-up face with these small 2 teeth sort of poking out, with this giant axe that looks like an anchor in his hand, and this other very small girl wearing almost all black with these small little bits and pieces of parchment on there, and this huge crossbow in her hands. And then you can see catty-corner from them, maybe making a triangle, 40 feet between you, and then 40 feet away from both you 3 and those 2, you can see a lily, larger than the rest, with red and yellow leaves alternating. And as the skeletons begin to approach the 3 of you, and 4 more approach the 2 of them, that is where we'll pick up next Saturday for session 1.
No.
Bum, bum,
Let's
bum.
fight Skelly Bobs
Bum, bum, bum.
now.
Bum,
it
bum,
now.
bum,
Let's find Skilly Bobs now.
Let's get the lily before they do, because obviously we know
Hell
better.
yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I don't know if Jamie and Gemma they wanna hop back in this chat, because they can if they'd like. But that is it for today. If you liked the stream, please feel free to follow. We'd love to have you on board. We'll be here every Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time, every Tuesday at 5:30 Central Daylight Time, and then every Friday at 4 Central Daylight Time. 3 different campaigns, all DM'd with me. Some of the players are the same, some of them are different. You'll have to check it out to find out. So leave a follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel, do whatever. Honestly, I'm just happy you're here. So I hope you have a good rest of your evening, and I look forward to seeing you all next Saturday. Woo-wee! What a session that's going to be. Oh, man. Alrighty. Thank you for watching.
Let us fight Skeleton.
Bye.